thank you so much for the kind introduction, and thanks for having me here, everyone. This is my first time at Timur. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about Afikra and intellectual curiosity in the Arab world and what we do. Real quick, aside from the last 24 hours or 6 hours, who has ever heard of Afikra? I expect only one or two hands. Okay, perfect. So in 2014, I was living in New York. I was working in banking in New York, and I was watching a show that was on called Boardwalk Empire. I don't know if anyone remembers it, from about a decade ago. And so I was thinking to myself, I know a lot about New York in the 1920s. Like, I know a lot. So just yell out real quick. When I say New York 1920s, what do you think of?
Flappers.
Flappers, Prohibition, what else?
Gangsters.
Gangsters, good. Exactly. Images like this, right? The Great Crash, flappers, literature, fashion. I knew about fashion. I don't even care about fashion. I knew about fashion, right? The Yankees, sports history. How do I know about sports history of New York, right? The music, I know about the music. I know even economic history from a place I didn't even live, right? Crime history, mafia, like you said, everyone got this. So if I think about almost every single section of the library, this like hypothetical library, I had information, I had stories about this place from 100 years ago. And then I thought to myself, what was Beirut like in the 1920s, the city I grew up in? I had no idea, right? I really had no idea. What was Casablanca like? What was Cairo like? What was Jeddah like? What was Amman like? What was Manama like? What was Muscat, right? Just going down the list, how do I not know anything about these places? From a place that I think I'm interested in. I thought I was interested in, right? So the question is, if I say that I'm interested in this region, if I say I have some connection to it, as you all say, what do I actually know about this place? Turns out, when I sort of walk through this library, I know very, very, very little. And so I asked myself, okay, how do I actually connect with this region? I say I'm connected. How do I actually connect? There's two ways that I connected at the time. The first is party with Arabs, right? Party with Arabs. This is a version of party with Arabs, right? Party with Arabs, right? These are your weddings, your brunches, your retreats. I'm great at this. I'm really good, okay? I have honed my skills. I'm from Beirut. I've honed my skills at partying with Arabs. The second is protesting with Arabs. Protesting with Arabs, also very good. I'm awesome at this. Also from Beirut, right? I'm very good at this. But I realize that both of these, in some way, are kind of shallow. They're trivial. So I wanted this new way to connect, some big middle. So in New York, I sent out an email to a bunch of friends and said, how about we get together on a rooftop in Brooklyn, this rooftop, and said, how about you guys come over and we'll do this thing where we give presentations. I'll give a presentation about something I don't know much about, and you'll give a presentation about something you don't know much about. And because my friends are kind, they humor me with my dumb ideas. So they said, okay, we'll come over and we'll see how it goes. And at the end of that talk, I realized that everyone's eyes were wide, wide, wide open. And somehow, everyone realized that we didn't have this space, a space that we could allow us to communally explore the history and cultures of the Arab world without agendas, without a party, and without a protest, without a da'ayah at the end of it, right? Just curiosity. So that's the larger thing. I won't go through the how and why. We'll talk about it in a more of an organic way, but I'll tell you where we are today, and then we can fill in the gaps with some questions afterwards. So the exact mission of the organization is to convert passive interest in the region's histories and cultures into an active intellectual curiosity. We're trying to get people who say they're interested to actually ask a question, do some work, roll up your sleeve, and help craft a new narrative about what this place was, what it is, and what it might be in the future. And how do we do that? We do three types of things. We started in 2014. We've gotten to the point where we have 30 chapters all around the world. The size of the community is about 100,000 people worldwide. And we do three things. We host events that are grassroots around the world, 38 places. We publish media, podcasts, videos, stuff like that get watched by millions and millions of people. And we are an educational community that at its core is trying to publish and promote a new pedagogy about how we can connect with this region and explore this region. So people like funnels, you can look at this later, but the big picture is starts with 20 million, gets down to 200 people who are at the core trying to build this movement. One of the questions is diaspora or not diaspora? For me, we're all in the diaspora. So I don't really care about that dichotomy. But big picture is that most people in the community right now are between 18 and 45. 80% of the people call the Arab world home, whether they're a Palestino in Chile, or whether they're a Saudi in New York, or whether they're an Armenian in Beirut. There's varying definitions. Yeah, so I talked about these 3 pillars of our work. So I'll just really quickly show you vision. So events all over the world, both online and off. We started offline, and now we do tons of, during the COVID, we sort of expanded like crazy and did stuff online. So if you see the cities that you're in on here and you'd like to be involved, you should. We have partners all over the world. This is largely how we stay afloat. We work with educational institutions and cultural institutions who hire us to do these types of things in partnership with them. Folks like YouTube and El Sirkal and a lot more. As I mentioned, we've developed this pedagogy that teaches this stuff. So we work with NYU Abu Dhabi and University of Chicago and high schools all across the region. We publish pretty much a new episode every single day across one of our many podcasts. So if you're a design nerd, there's friendly nerds waiting for you. If you're interested in music, you can find them. But that's what this is all about. And the idea is really to showcase the breadth and the depth of this region's histories and cultures. So I don't want people to think of the Arab world and think of just a airport bookstore's worth of information, right? Where it's like a cute. I said this during the sort of lunchy networking session, where it's like people think of cookbooks, they think of history of war, they think of like cute, nostalgic identity stuff. But the idea is like we want to have people think about literature and architecture and tectonic plates and botany and all these different things. So really understand that it is wide and it is deep. So pretty much 4 times a week, there is an interview with an expert from academia, media, and art who are either focused on the Arab world through their studies or they're shaping it through their actions. We work with adorable students. I used to be a high school teacher, so this is really where my heart is. We work with adorable high school students who are going to be the future leaders of this region, and we work to connect them with each other and have them make intellectual connections about the region through our Global Connect program, which is amazing. And all of this goes on to our library. So when people ask me, Taib, what is the Arab world? You keep on saying the Arab world. What is it? Where is it? Who is it? This library that we're building on our website, every single one of our talks goes on that, is actually a physical representation of what, where, and who the Arab world is. Because it is, every single talk is like a point on a pointillism painting. And with every additional talk, that artwork shapeshifts. And the contours of what this place is are sort of influenced by every additional talk. So each of you could and should give Afikra talks and help shape the way we think about this region. And if you follow us on Instagram, we're constantly trying to expose people to that diversity. And so we really take pride in going and falling down these ridiculous rabbit holes and finding really sort of quirky stories to expand our understanding. And at every single level, it is very much a community, from our advisory board down to every single local team. So I hope you join us, and I think I got through that as fast as I could. Cool.